her career with a dream, and the dream was to teach differently, to bring inspiration, to bring creativity into the classroom. And that's not always done in the most obvious ways. Sometimes it's the subtle things, it's the little tricks, it's the way the information is delivered and the way that the students are drawn into the learning experience. If you feel teased and tantalized by that introduction, that is just the tip of the iceberg. It is my huge pleasure to welcome to the stage from the Shakespeare School. Oh, that wasn't quite such a big Georgiana Bose.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hold it. Okay, got it. So I cannot rap to save my life. I'm sorry. I've just given back the cap. Oops. What I would like us to do, first of all, before we dive in, to take you back in time. Blink when you're ready. Good. Okay. All right. Now, I'd like you to imagine that you are at age 6 again, and you are asked that classic question: what do you want to be when you grow up? I'd like a quick show of hands. Hands up if anybody said pilot. Doctor? Ooh, pilot, okay. Doctor. Engineer. Superhero. Fairy. Teacher. Oh, and who became that? Yeah, same here. My mom was absolutely convinced I'd be a doctor. My dad, he had his hopes pinned on football. And I ended up in a virtual classroom with 10-year-olds arguing over who actually owns the right to screen share. Now, if I could turn back time, I would go back and tell my parents and my younger self, forget the stethoscope, forget the stadium. I'll be wielding a board pen like it were a magic wand. But the truth is, I didn't get here through some grand, dramatic moment. It was tiny things, subtle influences, small choices that nudged me in this direction. And this is exactly what I would like to explore with you today. How the small choices we make as teachers, sometimes without even being aware of it, can make a difference on how students behave, engage, and maybe even who they become. Now, fast forward a few years, not too many. Imagine me, a freshly graduated, wide-eyed novice teacher at Shakespeare School. I had my degree, I had my lesson plans color-coded, and a head full of theories about student engagement. What I didn't have was an actual clue of how to keep students engaged, motivated, and in their seats. So I did what all good teachers do when they're out of ideas. I panicked. Briefly, several times, and then I asked for help. And over the years, together with the team of expert teachers at Shakespeare School, we developed something called the chaos radar. It's that sixth sense that lets you spot the whisper spreading across the far end before it becomes a full-blown side conversation, or the subtle shift in body language that says that somebody is going to dramatically drop their pen for the 5th time this lesson. It's the art of spotting the eye roll before it spirals into full-blown disengagement. And while it might sound like a superpower, it's actually just the result of experience and of understanding that the way we speak, move, and react in class sends constant signals. Signals that can either build trust and attention or lead the way to chaos. Now, that's when I realized this chaos radar that we would started developing wasn't just about sensing mischief. It was the beginning of understanding classroom management, not as a set of strict rules or magical behavior tricks, but as the daily, moment-by-moment act of steering the energy of a group of students with intention. Now, classroom management is not in any way control in the strict behavioral sense. It's creating the kind of space when learning can happen. Because before we can teach anything, grammar, vocabulary, essay writing, the present perfect, we need attention. And attention doesn't come automatically. The more I tuned into this chaos radar, the more I realized that every decision I made, where I stood, how I gave instructions, when I chose to wait rather than speak, it either added to the calm or fed the chaos. And this brings me to my next question. What is classroom management, in fact? And I'd like us to do something together. If you're not sitting next to a person, could you please move next to one? They look like nice people. Thank you. Okay, lovely. Good. All right. So, I'm going to show you 7 boxes. All 7 boxes describe a classroom management technique. In fact, just 6 of them. One of them is an intruder. What you need to do is find this intruder. You have around 20 seconds to read through the description, and then you will also see an extra clue. It's the scrambled version of the name for the technique. The scrambled version for the name of the technique. Read the description, read the scrambled version, tell your partner what technique this is. Shall we start with an example? Okay, good. So, number 1. Is it visible enough? Is it visible enough now? You can come closer. Sorry. We're discovering the intruder. There is no scrambled version. Not yet. That one is coming. So this is number 1. Would you say this is classroom management? Okay. I'll show you the other 6. I won't ask you after every single one of them. I'll ask you at the end. Identify what? What? The one that is not? Brilliant. Tell your partner and why. What color did you choose? Louder. Anybody else who chose a different color? Good. Because you are correct. While random chatter is part of the classroom sounds, sadly, it's not part of the definition of classroom management. For example, Scrivener defines classroom management as everything we as teachers consciously decide to do or not to do in class, and the consequences that arise when we are unaware of those decisions. So if classroom management is all about these small decisions that we make, either consciously or unconsciously, then my next question is, what kind of decisions actually help? Now, Scrivener, luckily, does more than just give us the definition. He points us towards what really works. And you may have heard this before. He speaks about the power of authentic teacher presence and of building rapport. He speaks about connecting with students as people. We shall call this connection. He mentions the value of clear interventions, structured routines, and well-scaffolded tasks. We shall call this, somebody said it, clarity. He also highlights the idea of predictability and responding to behavior in a steady, fair, and familiar way. We shall call this consistency. Connection, clarity, consistency. The 3 C's of classroom management. And while Scrivener himself didn't package them with a catchy label, these are the ideas that stand as the backbone of his approach to classroom management. And it's not just him. If we have a look at other names in ELT, maybe they ring a bell. Jeremy Harmer? I hear, okay. Penny double, okay. Well, we see the same principles emerge again and again, even if the wording shifts slightly. For example, Jeremy Harmer mentions building strong teacher-student relationships and being emotionally responsive. He highlights the importance of clear lesson instructions and defined goals. And he emphasizes regular routines and consistent teacher behavior. Now, Penny same story. She mentions respectful classroom climates, clear instructions, and fairness in classroom interactions. Once again, connection, clarity, and consistency. Others in the field have built on the same idea in various ways. But no matter what terminology they used, it all sounds quite the same. Some have called them the 3 C's of behavior management. Others have mentioned terms like compassion or composure. But no matter what terminology this is, the core is strikingly similar. Would you agree? Now, let's have a look at each and every one of them. I call consistency the calm within the storm. Why? Because if the students don't know what to expect, they will absolutely test the waters every single time. And we can't blame them, can we? I mean, if I walked into a classroom and I didn't know what version of my teacher I was getting today, the cool one, the tired one, the don't you dare breathe one, I'd be confused too. Consistency means clear routines. It means, predictable responses. And it means, no matter how difficult this sounds, being the same teacher on Monday morning as you are on Friday afternoon. A first example that comes to mind is setting the classroom rules. We set the classroom rules on day 1 and reinforce them every single lesson. This is an example of classroom rules for older students, and this is one for younger students. Do you have classroom rules? Of course. Good. But it's not just that, even though it certainly helps. Consistency shows up in very simple things. Starting every lesson in a familiar way, maybe with a question on board, a short routine, or even just a smile and a "how are you?" It teaches the students, we're back, we know how this works. As I was preparing this presentation, I remembered the moment from one of my CAE groups this year. CAE, 10th, 11th graders, yes? 16, 17, almost 18. They want to think that they're adults. They're not, but they're wannabes. Anyways, so we were falling slightly behind. Oops. And so I had decided to drop our regular, "Hello, how are you? What's the highlight of your week? Tell us what news you have" moment at the beginning of the lesson. Now, I thought I was being efficient, but I had barely, no, correct. I had barely got into my next sentence when a student stops me and says, absolutely outraged, "I can't believe that on the one day when I actually had something to share, you didn't ask us anymore. I've been waiting for this for a whole week." And again, we're talking 11th grade, a boy. So it was shocking. And then I understood that even these small routines that we believe are insignificant and that we can easily cut out from the lesson, they are part of what makes students feel seen and ready to engage. That's the power of consistency. It also means giving instructions in the same format. First you do this, and then this, and finally this. This reduces mental load for students, and it saves you from repeating yourself 12 times. It means waiting until you have full attention before speaking, no matter how tempting it is to power through. The students will easily learn teacher won't start until we're focused. It means reacting the same way when a phone comes out in class. Never happened, of course. Or the student starts packing up early. Not with drama, but with a calm, predictable response that says, "We've been here before." It means following through on consequences fairly and predictably. Even how you deal with lateness or homework, be it a check-in or a reminder or a consequence. When done consistently, it teaches students what's expected, and that you will follow through. Now, consistency doesn't mean being robotic. It means that the students know what to expect. It means they know how you will respond. And very importantly, they know where the boundaries are. Shall we move on to the next C? Do you remember which one it is? Clarity. I will tell you at the end why I call it the invisible glue. Now, this one is really sneaky because we all think we're being clear. But what seems obvious to us isn't necessarily obvious to a group full of students. Maybe we've taught it 5 times already this week, and they're just thinking about their weekend plans, Fortnite, Minecraft, who they're meeting after school, etc., etc., etc. Now, clarity means clear instructions, it means clear signals, and it means clear expectations. It also means not assuming they should know this by now. If I don't set the task well, and half of the group start doing interpretive dance rather than writing a paragraph, that's on me, not on them. Now we're getting to the unscrambling part. You have around 10 seconds to read a description of a classroom management technique connected to clarity. After this description, you have the scrambled version of that particular technique. Case in point. when you have a complex task, you break it down into smaller steps rather than dumping everything on the students at once. This is the description. This is the scrambled version of the name. Tell your partner what it is. Your partner could also be the person at the back, so you can turn. And this is? Correct. Now let's do the rest. Ready to go? Okay, so, I like your energy. I thought that everybody would be either dead or not here by the time my presentation came up. Now, number 2, a very powerful tool. Instead of asking a very vague and general question like, do you understand? Asking the students very specific questions like, what do you have to do first? Are you working alone or in pairs? Tell your partner. Tell everybody. Brilliant. We're moving on. Starting the task with let me show you how to do this moment. It's especially useful for pair work, for interactive tasks, for role play activities. Tell your partner. Wow, that's one way of whispering to your partner. Now let's try it together. Excellent. Next time, let's whisper to the partner. You don't want the rest of the people to hear your ideas, please. The next one. Keeping instructions visible, either on a slide or on the board, so that the students don't keep on asking, so what were we supposed to do again? Tell your partner. And now tell everybody. You're very good at this. Another one, giving the students a very clear time limit, telling them you have 3 minutes, I'll set a timer, rather than saying you have a few minutes. Whisper. And now say it out loud. This is like a mantra. Provide support before expecting independence. Help the students with useful language, sentence starters, examples. This is... Tell your partner first. And now... Yes. And I promise this is the last one. Using non-verbal cues to guide behavior. For example, this signals 2 versions. I heard stop and silence. Both of them mean the same thing. Well done. This means... Excellent. And this is called... Tell your partner. And tell us. Right you are. Now, because clarity doesn't only help students succeed at a task, it actually helps the students feel focused and confident in what they're being asked to do. And my promise, in short, it's like the invisible glue that holds your lesson together. When it's there, things stick. When it's not, things have a tendency of falling apart quietly, but with surprising speed. Connection, the 3rd C. I call this the secret ingredient. Why? Because it's the one thing that you don't really see on a lesson plan. But it's more often than not the reason why that lesson plan works or doesn't. And we've heard this before. It's been mentioned, I think, even in the previous session, because when there is no connection, teaching becomes a little unpleasant. a little unpleasant. Why? Because students don't learn from people they are afraid of. Students don't learn from teachers who just deliver content at them. Students learn best from teachers they are seen, heard, and respected by. Connection doesn't mean being their best friend or letting them walk all over you. It means letting them know, I see you, you matter here. And it shows up in the smallest of things, in warm, calm, respectful language. Remembering a student's name or even just pronouncing it correctly. I don't know about you, but in my class, lots of interesting names have started to pop up. There are no more Alexandras. There are lots of other names. When a student is absent from class, the next time they come back to class, telling them, I noticed you weren't here yesterday. Is everything okay? Saying, oh, that's such a good question, even when your brain is frantically Googling the answer internally. Taking an extra 5 seconds to say, are you okay, when you notice someone's off? Acknowledging effort before correction. You're definitely going in the right direction. Again, I remembered another story from my experience. I'm sure you know the profile. There was this student once, a few years back, when that was very clever and very capable, but always a little guarded. He would never volunteer to speak. He would barely make eye contact. And then one day, at the end of the lesson, he comes to me and says, I like it when you don't make a big deal when I get something wrong. And that was it. No elaboration, no smile, he just left. But it stuck with me because sometimes connection isn't about building confidence loudly. It's about creating a space where students don't feel exposed. And the great thing about it, when connection is better, when connection is strong, classroom management becomes easier because students don't only comply, they cooperate, they try harder. And on the days when things fall apart, and they can, and they will, connection is what helps us bring things back faster. Now, let's admit it. There is no such thing as perfect students. Would you agree? There is no such thing as perfect lessons. There is no such thing as perfect lesson plans. Yes, no, yes, okay. Make up your mind, people. And there is no such thing as perfect classroom management techniques. Even with the best of intentions, the most carefully planned routines, with the clearest of instructions, things can still fall apart. Because we call this teaching. We call this life. And so, we've talked about the chaos radar. That sixth sense you develop over time. We've unpacked connection, clarity, and consistency. The 3 C's that help to hold the class together. Here's your challenge. How do we put all of this into practice? When we have real students, when we have a real classroom, when we have real time pressure, how do we bring things back in such situations? I'd like you to imagine the following scenario. You walk into the classroom. You sense the shift. Something is building, and it's not a good thing. Students are testing the limits. They are interrupting. They are speaking in L1. They are arguing back, maybe not loudly, but loud enough to derail the flow. You know this feeling. It's the moment right before everything turns into... Oh, yes, you do know the feeling, right? So your challenge today is to help bring things back by activating your chaos radar and using the 3 C's. Which were they again? Right, connection, clarity, and consistency. I will show you 3 different scenarios based on 3 different age groups. I'd like you to discuss these scenarios with a partner or partners and to come up with a possible way in which we can bring things back using the 3 C's. Choose only one scenario. It can be either the one that is closest to your teaching environment, the one you find the most challenging, the one that you like the most. Take your pick. Just one. Scenario number 1. Nod after you've read it. Nod more vigorously after you've read it so that I know you've read it. Thank you. Okay. Don't just nod, read it. Sorry. Choose only one and think about this with a partner or 2. How can you bring things back using the 3 C's? What would consistency, clarity, and connection look like in these scenarios? What would you say or do? Now, before you start, how many scenarios are you choosing? Who are you discussing this with? What happens if there's nobody next to you? You don't talk to yourself. I mean, you could, but let's not. We have other people who are very nice. We can talk to them. And you have 3 minutes. Be prepared with an answer. I will ask. I will hand you the microphone. Be ready. 5, 3, 1. A quick show of hands. Who chose young learners? Okay. Teens? Young adults? And what did the rest of you choose? Okay, we'll start with young learners. I'd like us to start with the team over there. They're going to tell us what they discussed in terms of connection, clarity, and consistency. And if there is anything to add, then please feel free to do so. Wait a second, I'm wearing high heels. No, you do it. No, you do it. No, I insist.
Okay, so if the class is interrupting, what I do with my young learners, I play the sound of a frog or maybe an alarm, and then suddenly everyone is listening to me. And this is the way that I ensure that everybody is paying attention to me. And it's very efficient, it works wonders every time I do it. A frog, a lion, a tiger, anything. And then I'm asking them, what was that? What did you hear? And this is an attention getter that works very well with young learners. Then, starting from that, I can go back to my lesson plan and to the topic that I'm discussing with the children. That this ensures consistency and also clarity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can you make the frog sound for us?
No, I use Google.
Sorry. Anything to add to that? Going once, going twice. I got the 7-minute warning, so I'm moving on. With young learners, connection is all about building trust and rapport so that children want to cooperate. When a child keeps interrupting, we acknowledge them without stopping and we say, I see you're exciting, I'll come back to you right after this. And very importantly, we do come back to them. When children feel valued and heard, they don't need to fight for attention. When it comes to clarity, they need visible and easy to understand rules and instructions. For example, you can use a visual noise meter, like the traffic light. The colors can be whatever you want. For example, green can mean group talk, yellow, wait your turn, red, silence. Why? Because young learners don't understand what too noisy or wait your turn means. When it comes to consistency, it's always about applying routines and consequences fairly every time. If interruptions or noise continue, pause the activity, wait silently, then restart only when it's quiet, every single time. Children quickly learn that noisy behavior always leads to the same call response, no surprises and no negotiations. Teens. I saw hands raised over here somewhere. Help. Teens. Wasn't it you? With teens? This group? Thank you. Again, heels, wait. Yes, you have, I saw a hand.
Hi. All right, so with teens it's quite difficult because they're always bored, cringe. So as Andrea was saying, the most important thing is to build a connection with them. So you make sure that they actually understand that they are seen and you care for them and they're going to open up a little bit more.
And I completely agree, sorry. Well, something follows after then, usually. And I completely agree because To build connection with teens, you need to show them respect and empathy, exactly so that they feel heard. Spot on. She did know what she was getting herself into. If a student argues back, you can acknowledge their feeling without escalating. I hear your point, let's talk about it after class so that we don't lose focus now. This way, they don't need to test authority anymore. A calm, respectful response maintains rapport and avoids a power struggle. Clarity. Apart from the clear tasks and expectations, they need the reason behind them. For L1 use, you can agree on a class code. For example, English in pairs and in groups, so we all practice equally. L1 for checking meaning if you're stuck. And if you post this as a visible rule, the teens are more likely to cooperate when they understand why the rule exists and can see it written down. Consistency, the same. Predictability and fairness. If noise levels rise, use the same quiet signal. Wait for silence before continuing, because teens test boundaries, but when your reaction is always the same, they know you mean it and don't waste energy pushing further. Sorry, just got the 3-minute warning. Now that you know, we're pushing forward with young adults, and for them, connection is relating to their world and showing genuine interest. How can you do this? By personalizing the task and always asking for their opinion and validating it. Again, they respond when they feel seen as individuals, not just students. Clarity, the same. Setting clear roles and expectations for participation. At the start of each discussion, like I did with you, each of you will share one idea, even a short one. After that, we'll build on each other's points. This way, participation becomes non-negotiable. Everybody will share an idea, but manageable, even a short one. Consistency, predictable, calm, respectful atmosphere. When tension arises, acknowledge it briefly without judgment and then move forward. I hear your point. For now, let's stick to the task so that we can finish on time, which I'm trying to do. I'm sorry, I'm hurrying up a bit. Predictable, calm reactions signal safety and prevent power struggles, which builds long-term trust. Now, in short, consistency brings structure and keeps boundaries firm. Clarity brings everyone back to the goal. And connection keeps it human even when things get messy and brings the students back with you rather than against you. They are the 3 C's that stop your classroom from becoming a scene from Jumanji, which I'm going to show you. In our Jumanji analogy, what does the teacher say? Get ready. And help, help. Nah. The best thing about this is that these are not some magical traits that you are either born with or not. They are skills. And like any skills, they can be learned, they can be practiced, they can be improved. One way to do this, the 4th C, CELTA. The Cambridge, the internationally recognized Cambridge teacher training course that is all about turning the theory into the reality. It offers practical hands-on training with real classroom experience based on expert support and feedback. Designed to boost your teaching skills fast, it provides an internationally recognized qualification that paves the way towards a global career. In other words, it's where the 3 C's stop being nice ideas and they become real classroom practices. Now, maybe you didn't know that Shakespeare School is one of is the first CELTA center in Bucharest. And since 2014, we've been running 2-3 courses every year. And in 2026, we're planning to run 2 more SALTA courses, a fully part-time one and an intensive one. Now, if you're ready to have more connection with your students, to have more clarity in your lessons and more consistency in your results, here's your invitation to start your SALTA journey with us. We would love to see you take the next step towards the 3 C's that turn chaos into calm and teaching into something that works, not only for the students, but also for you. Applications are open and free, and the best thing about it is that you don't need a magic wand. You just need to start. Be it in your next lesson, be it on your next course, the choice is yours. But the change, that starts today. Thank you very much. You've been a great audience. Thank you very much for being so active and for all the meaningful brainstorming that we did together.